Right now, tonight, if you live anywhere from Iowa to New York, you need to stop what you are doing and pay attention to what is coming. This is not a minor weather event. This is not a dusting on the grass that melts by noon tomorrow. What is setting up over the next 48 to 72 hours is a multi-layered, multi-threat storm system that will disrupt travel, knock out power, close schools, and in some areas make roads genuinely impassable. And the most dangerous part of this storm is not the snow. I will get to that in a moment. But first, let's talk about what is already in place, because that is the foundation that makes everything else so much worse. The Arctic air mass that has been sitting over the northern and central United States for several days now is not going anywhere. Picture a dome, a dense, heavy lid of cold air pressed down from Canada all the way into the midsection of this country. Surface temperatures across the Midwest tonight are running well below normal. Ground temperatures are frozen hard. The soil is locked. The pavement is cold. And that matters enormously, because when precipitation falls into this environment, it does not have the luxury of melting on contact. It hits frozen surfaces and it stays. That cold air is the stage. The storm coming in from the west is the main act, and it is bringing everything with it. Here is what we are watching. A stream of Pacific energy is rotating across the Rockies tonight and pushing eastward across the plains. On its own, that would give us some light snowfall. But this system is doing something more aggressive. It is tapping Gulf moisture warm, humid air streaming northward from the Gulf of Mexico. And that moisture is being lifted up and over the cold Arctic air already locked in place across the Midwest. Meteorologists call this overrunning precipitation. You can think of it like this. Imagine pouring warm water over a block of ice. The moisture does not sink into the cold air. It rides over the top of it, and as it rises and cools, it falls back to the surface as snow, sleet, or freezing rain, depending on exactly where you are standing. That temperature profile, that razor-thin transition zone between freezing and above freezing air, is what is going to define who gets snow, who gets ice, and who gets a dangerous mix of both. Let's move through the snowfall corridor, because this is where the headline totals are going to come from. Starting in Iowa, where the system makes its most aggressive push eastward, snowfall accumulations of 4 to 8 inches are possible across central and eastern Iowa through Thursday night and into Friday morning. This is travel-disrupting snow. Interstate 80 is going to be a problem. We are talking about reduced visibility, snow-covered lanes, and wind-driven drifting that makes some stretches feel like a near whiteout at times. That corridor pushes directly into northern and central Illinois, where Chicago and the surrounding metro area are sitting squarely in the path of this system. Chicago is not a stranger to snow, but a 6 to 10 inch event on top of already frozen ground with temperatures staying below freezing through the event means that plows will be fighting to keep up. O'Hare International Airport and Midway, both of them are going to be dealing with ground delays, potential de-icing backlogs, and cascading flight cancellations that will ripple across the entire national flight network for Friday morning. If you have a flight out of Chicago on Friday, you need to be on your airline's app right now checking your status. Continuing east, the snow corridor intensifies through northern Indiana and into Ohio. The Great Lakes are still partially open and will contribute additional lake-enhanced snowfall on the back end of the system, particularly in the Ohio snowbelt counties east and southeast of Cleveland. Some of these areas could see locally higher totals. We are talking 10 to 14 inches when you factor in that lake effect enhancement. The storm track keeps the heaviest axis pushing into western and central Pennsylvania, where Interstates 76, 79, and 80 are all going to be affected. Truckers, commuters, and anyone driving the Pennsylvania Turnpike through Friday should expect significantly reduced travel speeds and possible closures on mountain passes. And the corridor does not stop there. It continues its march into western and central New York, including the Buffalo metro area, Rochester, and Syracuse, cities that know heavy snow but will still feel the impact in terms of morning commutes, school delays, and evening rush hour travel. If you are a parent in upstate New York tonight, start planning for the possibility that Friday's school schedule may look very different by morning. Now, here is something that most weather coverage does not explain well, and I want to make sure you understand it, because it is the reason some areas will get buried while a town just 20 miles away barely sees an inch. Inside this storm, there are going to be mesoscale snow bands. Think of a snow band like a river of extremely heavy snowfall embedded within the larger storm. These bands are narrow, sometimes only 20 to 40 miles wide. But within them, snowfall rates can hit 2 to 3 inches per hour. Visibility drops to near zero. Roads that were passable become impassable in under an hour. If you are caught inside one of these bands during your evening commute on Friday, it will feel like a completely different storm than what your neighbor 5 counties over is experiencing. Watch your local alerts closely. The difference between 4 inches and 12 inches in this storm will come down to exactly where that band sets up, and those details will become clearer through the overnight hours. But now we need to talk about ice. Because south of that heavy snow corridor, from Kansas into Missouri and down into Kentucky, the storm is going to produce something far more quietly dangerous than snow. Freezing rain. Ice accumulations of 1/4 inch to as much as 1/2 inch are possible across these areas by Friday afternoon. I want you to understand what that means in real terms. A 1/2 inch of ice accumulation adds hundreds of pounds of weight to a single tree branch. Power lines become coated in a sleeve of ice and begin to sag, then snap. A single untreated overpass or bridge can go from damp to a solid sheet of ice in under 15 minutes when temperatures drop below freezing during a rain event. What meteorologists call a flash freeze. One moment traffic is moving slowly. The next, vehicles are sliding uncontrollably. If you are in Kansas City, St. Louis, Louisville, or anywhere in between, do not underestimate this. Freezing rain is invisible until it is too late. Before tonight's temperatures drop further, treat your steps, your driveway, and any exterior surfaces you use. Make sure your vehicle has an ice scraper. Give yourself triple the normal braking distance. And if power goes out in your area due to ice-laden lines, make sure you have a flashlight, a battery backup, and a way to stay warm that does not involve an open flame indoors. In the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic, the system arrives with its moisture loaded and ready. Philadelphia, New York City, Boston, and Washington, D.C. are all looking at a wet, potentially mixed precipitation event that will hammer both the morning and evening travel peaks on Friday. Even a marginal snowfall of 2 to 4 inches in New York City is enough to grind bus service, spike subway delays, and turn the bridges and tunnels into a slow crawl. LaGuardia, JFK, and Newark are 3 of the busiest airports in the world, and even moderate weather can send ripple delays cascading across every connecting city in the country. Plan around it. Down in the southeast, this system is not about snow. It is about relentless rainfall, gusty winds, and the kind of reduced visibility that makes highway driving genuinely hazardous. Ponding water on roadways through Tennessee, Georgia, and the Carolinas will create hydroplaning risks throughout the day Friday. Localized flooding is possible in areas that have seen rainfall in recent weeks. Embedded thunderstorms within the warm sector could produce brief but intense bursts of heavy rain that drop visibility to near zero. Keep your headlights on, slow down, and stay aware that flash flood watches may be issued through the day. Looking forward into early March, this is not the end. The pattern does not relax. A corridor of storm development is already being signaled across the central United States as we push into the first week of March, with the potential for another significant system to lift through the southern plains and track toward the Great Lakes region. The details are still coming into focus, but the signal is there, and it is consistent across multiple forecast models. This winter is not finished with us yet. Stay ready, stay informed, stay one step ahead of the storm, because the weather doesn't wait, and neither should you.